prove yourself by being able to recite your lineage and your bloodline. See, a wise man can trace his or herself back. Do you go back to Scotland? Do you go back to Ireland? Do you go back to Africa? You should be able to trace yourself back, beloved. This is what we're going into. This is what the new energy is calling for, because we're going back to the motherland. There's different motherlands, but we going back to the motherland. You see? And in that, you got to be able to trace yourself back to your father's side and your mother's side. So, and then even get dealing with your natal chart. You can look at your natal chart. If people that are lost and like, I can't trace myself back. My mother died. My father died. They got shot. I don't know. I can still, that's what they have the system in the natal chart, because that's a permanent stain or blueprint showing you how royal you are, what type of blood you got in you, where you come from. The natal chart doesn't lie. It'll tell you everything about your physical self if you know how to read it correctly. It's called solar biology. You use the sun and the different planets, planetary solar biology, to create and make up a human, because this is what the wise scientists did. So the Anunnaki, they dealing with kingship and queendom. People from Sirius, it's kings and queens on Sirius. And Anus, these are king. They wear crowns. You have a crown chakra that emanates, the crown emanates your crown chakra, but on a deeper level, the king would wear a crown chakra because this is a person that's supposed to have all their chakras lined up. The king had to prove. See, the king was spiritual. Like, what would make you the king was like, what was your abilities on a spiritual level? What are you able to do on a spiritual level? How enlightened are you? How illuminated are you? What do you know? See, people say, I'm the king and I'm this and I'm that, but what do you know for real? Or even about yourself. You talk about all of this stuff you know what's going on with television. You're watching all the reality TV and you know what's going on in the reality TV. What do you know about you? And this was what determined as a person that makes it into the royal house. So everything is based on royalty and going back to that, but you have to be able to trace yourself back. It creates a new world and a new system, and people don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to shut this video down and make this point. So this is what the war is going to ultimately be about. The slaves rise up on the royals. The barons try to assassinate and overthrow the king. You see, the Masons, they know this. The Masons know that the lodges were set up as you're supposed to be a public servant, and ultimately it's all based on all the king's horses and all the king's men. And they hate that. But you in the lodge, though. You in church. That goes back to royalty, because the kings are up under the church government. See, this is why you can't really knock religion. I'm going to do a video on this, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but religion is deep, because religion is really what government is predicated upon. This is how government works, even when you deal with a monarch, any kind of government. See, even when you deal with a monarch, it's based upon the kings. They fall into the house of the divine ministry, or the divine, the divine ministry. This is where you get in, some governments have prime ministers and things of that nature. And then the kings, a lot of times, would be within the house of the divine ministry. And then that is ranks in that house. And these governments trace themselves back to extraterrestrial governments. And this is how everything connects. And the more higher up you go in this government thing, dealing with royalty and all of that, is based on magic. The more magical you are. See, Aladdin was a prince. The story of Aladdin, he was a prince. Notice he was a royal. Why are all these spiritual people why do they have royal ranks? See, the gurus are royals. A lot of the yogis are royals. And they find the house that their bloodline traces itself back to. They're a part of the royal house, just like in cards. So you notice in cards you have the king, the queen, the jack. So you got these different cards. because everything in this matrix is a game. But what they're doing is the machines have taken over the electrical biological entities, the grays. See, that's where they got these big old presidents and governments working for. You're working for the grays that let the machines, equipment. Men don't know how to build no more. This is why we don't have empires, because you can't build it. Men don't like fighting with their hands anymore. You want to go and use your little pistol. You want to try to do various assassination attempts. See, I know who I am. Like, I teach and I do this stuff on YouTube and I'm sharing. I feel like my presence, like my man Jay-Z said, my presence is charity. He said, just for clarity, my presence is charity. Everything I do is a gift because I'm involved in philanthropy. And this is what a real true king or queen is a philanthropist. But I have people that want to stop what I do. And they try to use these little government terms and put them on me to my whistleblower. I got people in my family that tell me I need to be in a mental home. And they try to do, people in my family try to assassinate me. You feel me? In secret, they use third parties to do it. But they just tried to do an intervention on me the other day. Sent some fucking forensic specialist out at me. Yeah, but I got his name and everything, and we know who you at. You see, but I'm not going to go into that, though, on this. We know who you are. Got all your names. You see, because I keep tabs. See, there's different governments. There's the Gestapo type of government. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So just when you think there's no authorities watching and it's anarchy, you don't know where the authorities are at watching. Who's the authority? You see, so I know I'm a king, and in that, you have barons that want to assassinate the king and overthrow the king and then set up what you call straw men or fictitious kings, where they make more than one king. They have a paper king or a figurehead type of a king, and then this is where presidents get their power from. They assassinate the real live blood king, and then they insert this corporate president in. This is why the Catholic Church, when you study the law of the Catholic Church and the religion, the way it's set up, this is why they're outside of the law. Notice that. This is why the mob, you notice on those movies, they'll go whack somebody and then go right up in the Catholic Church and be good. You know what I'm saying? Because of the Catholic Church is outside of that particular law. See, this is stuff that people don't realize. This goes into the monarch. This is a different way of government. And the machines, see, they want you to just be dependent on them. So now we're dependent on the machines for our form of government. When a man is a builder, you don't necessarily have to be a construction worker to be a builder. You could build in the workshop of the mind. You see, that's a whole nother video I got to do about the workshop of the mind and the body, how you can build with your mind physically and have a physical reality built with starting here. Because all builders know that everything starts here. The architect knows this. You need a blueprint. And the blueprint is in the mind. So this is what men are really supposed to be, builders. But then you got these people that get lazy, and then the machines urge you to want to overthrow somebody or assassinate a king so you could basically corporatize and get more money for the corporate machine to keep feeding the machine. You working for the machine, buddy. You working for an electrical biological entity that higher up extraterrestrials created. See, the Syrians created the Greys as slaves, as scouts. And what happened was that somebody rewired the Greys and turned them into put them up under their control. And this was somebody that knew a lot about the machines, and they wanted to reprogram the machines so they could overthrow the royals. This war took place in the stars before, and now it's taking place here. So now the machines have set up fake governments here in the form of democracies and different type of governments, and that's what's going to be World War III is going to be about. It's going to be about that. The machines trying to overthrow and take over from the royals. You got people that's going to go with the machine because people are lazy, and you don't know how to work or do anything. You're overweight. You can't go without food. You're not disciplined, so you're not going to be able to do anything. You need a job. You need a contract to get a job from a machine. You don't know how to exist in a society ran by royals. You don't know how to barter. You don't know how to deal in a society that's backed by gold. It's too pristine for you. That's like a poor person driving around in a Bentley. You don't even know how to start the car. You don't even know where the key ignition is. This is what's going on with people. So people have to be re-educated. You say you're a royal, and you mad at royal somebody. What gives them the authority? But you can't sit in that seat that person represents and demonstrate what that person is demonstrating. See, we have something called demonstrating. When you become conscious, there's the knowledge and the information part. Then you got to demonstrate that. I talked about that on other videos. You see, you got people, you call yourself a Moor, but then you running around acting like a corporation. But then you say you're a Moor though. You're supposed to be a royal. And that goes for anybody. Moors are, there's tiny Moors. Moors are white, black. So I'm not knocking. This is anybody. Because there's people calling themselves Moors that have different ways that they look. And I understand that. And I honor you as a Moor. But demonstrate that. Demonstrate the Moorish Empire. Because you can't really call yourself a Moor, period, unless you demonstrating the empire part of it. You can't call yourself a sovereign unless you demonstrating the empire. You can't be a sovereign in a corporate government. And this is what happened with a lot of people. They was playing around with them UCCs, and then they was taken from real royals. They didn't realize that those treasury bonds is based on estates. This is why you got to research your bloodline. And trusts, you started taking from those and then giving it to yourself and saying, oh, I ain't got to pay no tax, I don't got to do this. And setting up and taking treasury bonds and setting up businesses for yourself. And then now you done got in trouble because now you done started a war. But we can sit down at the table like men and women, because women are part of this too, and hash it out and talk it out. Or you just keep sending people to the door and we just keep using the Gestapo. And you know who you are, the person that, the individual group that's behind that. People know it's no fear in my heart. I will continue to do these videos. Because people need this, and this is what's going to enlighten the world. See, I'm not here to show off and to show how much money I got and all that. But I know at the same time, I have to show you something for you to listen to me. So you can say, oh, you shouldn't be charging for this, and you dealing in the world of that. And you don't understand nothing. I deal in commerce totally different than most of you. You don't understand. You can't do this. I'm building an economy. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you one thing about me, man. I'm going to shut this video down. I remember I was in a class. I was so good at economics. So good at economics, and I'm trying to get back the way I used to be because I was better when I was younger, actually. I was so good at economics that I didn't miss any questions or any, even on homework assignments. I went through a whole year of economics and only missed 3 questions. I'm talking about from homework assignments to all my tests, and it was only other person that beat me out, and that was a Russian. And you know what that taught me at a very young age? That Russians have something over us because of the fact that they're willing to go that extra mile and try harder, and foreigners in general do, because they'll speak 3 languages, whereas an American only speak English. So this is why you need mind control to run America. America's based on the monarch butterfly. I'll do a video on that. It's based on a system of mind control. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this video down, man. It's a lot to learn about royals and a lot to know. I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down, and until we meet again, I'll leave you in. Hotep, namaste, peace, and good vibes.